the city of Ekurhuleni is warning about the handling of organophosphate, a toxic chemical found in red poison, popularly known as halephirimi. In recent times, there have been concerns about suspected cases of food poisoning among children. The city is now working hard to ensure that communities understand the dangers of possible cross-contamination. Let's speak to Director of Environmental Health in Ekurhuleni, Dr. Jerry Chaka, who joins us live now. Dr. Chaka, in fact, pardon me, thank you so much for talking to us this evening. Let's just start with, looking at some of the media reports that are suggesting that officials, when they did the testing, have confirmed traces of organophosphate were actually found in the bodies of children who died in Ekurhuleni a year ago. Is this the case?
That's exactly the case, ma'am.
And
that's the case.
And when you then look at what happened here, would you say, is it in direct relation to what they ate, or could they have come across it somewhere else?
The contamination might have happened on the food that they ate, and it might be an accidental contamination. We're not sure about that yet. But certainly, as it relates to food poisoning, the story that is going around that food poisoning, spaza shops, etc. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
In terms of all our investigations in the city around the death that happened, we found out that it's organophosphate. In one instance, in Vosloorus, the family prepared and consumed sandwiches, and there were two children that died of that after consuming that. And over and above the sandwiches, they also consumed chips, which are Simba chips, and we tested both. And the positive traces of organophosphate was found in the home-prepared sandwich. And as relates to the chips that were bought elsewhere, those were found to be negative in terms of any trace of food poisoning. So the problem that we're picking up is mainly from organophosphate, the aldicarb, commonly known as aldicarb, and in all the instances, like in Tsakani, there was also an incident where we had to test biscuits, and they also were found to be negative. But tracing this matter further, we found out that there were fruit and vegetables that were stored by a neighbor who's selling this. And where he's storing this, he's also using this aldicarb, and the contamination should have happened due to that. And that's why we had this case of aldicarb.
Dr. Chaka, pardon me for coming in there. Two questions arise from what you're saying. So I'm going to start with the first one of the family that was preparing the sandwiches. Have you engaged with them to present these results, and what have they said?
We have engaged with them, but because this happened in a home, it's a police case that we actually had to leave it to the police to do thorough investigations.
Yeah.
And we are awaiting the outcome of the police investigation.
Okay. And then what is this aldicarb? What is it?
Ma'am, it's an organophosphate sold in the street, packaged by individuals, and it's mainly used to kill rodents and rats in the family. I mean, people use it for that particular purpose. But it's mainly an agricultural pesticide that is actually not safe for human consumption. So the challenge that we have is communities continue getting this, and this is an illegal product, by the way. It's not supposed to be in the street, and therefore the Department of Agriculture is also coming in to assist us in terms of removing this from the streets.
So if it's not supposed to be in the streets, why is it in the streets to begin with?
Ma'am, it's just like any legal product that we find in the streets. People would be selling them illegally. and they wouldn't even show that they are selling the products. And because there is that, fame about it being very effective in killing rats, and unfortunately, in some of the cases, it's now even, used as a product that is used to kill human beings. It's so unfortunate about this. But yeah, we're trying as much as possible to involve the Department of Agriculture to assist us in terms of removing the products from the streets and also ensuring that we educate communities around the dangers of this organophosphate.
Is the department moving with speed to address this?
Unfortunately, there's not much capacity in the Department of Agriculture, but us as a city, we are trying our best to ensure that with the limited resources that we have, we educate our communities about the dangers of this disease. And this is also mainly driven from our provincial office, which is actually their competence to actually educate communities on ALDICAP.
So you speak about this, and just a short while ago we were in conversation with Steve Mabona, who speaks for the Gauteng Education Department, and he was saying that as a department they're quite concerned about what is taking place in Tsakani because there are children, for example, who are taking their own lives using this poisonous substance as well. So are you in fact experiencing this as well, and what are you doing with it?
Ma'am, we can only suspect. We're not sure whether this is done deliberately, but when you analyze some of the cases that we're coming across, you might, conclude that, people are taking their lives and they are taking other people's lives using this particular product. But that cannot be confirmed by us. It's not our competence. The best that we're doing is just to provide education. And, I think many people are viewing this interview. They will take it home as well to ensure that the communities must take it upon themselves to ensure that we totally remove this product from our streets.
Especially because you're talking about communities, and I'm listening to what you're saying. There's a possibility of cross-contamination as well. That is now, I believe, taking place, given the fact that some of the food may be stored with some of these poisonous substances not being very far. Let's speak to someone who is doing just that, who is possibly running a small business and putting everything in the same room, because this may be dangerous.
Exactly. This is the situation, especially the Tsakani cave. This is the food, the person sells fruit and vegetables, and because he's also confronted with infestation of rodents, he's using that unknowingly that he's contaminating food, and therefore he's exposing his customers to serious conditions that might result in death. So basically, we are also ensuring that there is education. Actually, what should happen is the total removal of this product from our streets. That's the solution.
Yeah. And Dr. Chaka, one would definitely agree with you, and we will follow up with the Department of Agriculture to see what exactly are they doing to assist you in that regard, because as you say, it is illegal, it is poisonous, and of course some people may be storing it, hoping that it's going to be effective in order for them not to lose their stock because they're running a business, but it's posing as a serious danger. But thank you so much for your time, appreciate it. And as you say, I do hope those who are watching are taking heed and actually understand how dangerous this is. That was the Director of Environmental Health in Ekurhuleni, Dr. Jerry Chaka.